Shalom, friends. Chaim is my name. I'm a Galilean, just like the Galileans of old. And this is the Jordan River, the very river that parted to make way for the children of Israel, 12 tribes, to cross into their inheritance, into the promised land. I'll have you know, many are crossing, maybe not the physical Jordan River, but they're coming home, and we're here to help them. We're here to give them that love, a place to stay, food, clothing, shelter. And I think that right now there's a challenge for you. There is a call. Amos chapter 9 verse 11 talks about this tabernacle of David that fell down, that was collapsed, and that once again this worship, this praise, this prayer would return. We've been building a place called Vertical Galilee House of Prayer here, and believe that this is a place for the presence of God to rest in his neighborhood and for the nations to come here to the Galilee of the nations. Isaiah chapter 9 verse 1 calls this the place that was in contempt. But once again, the light shines here, and God will honor this place. But I believe that also there needs to be 24/7 prayer online, an altar of prayer built. And actually, you know how the children of Israel, when they crossed, right? Joshua chapter 1 verse 11, he says, prepare yourselves because in 3 days we're going to cross over, right? Joshua chapter 2, the spies go. Then in Joshua chapter 3, Joshua says, children of Israel, prepare yourselves, okay? It's time that God is going to reveal himself, but the priests got to step in that water. But consecrate yourselves, prepare yourselves, we're crossing over. Then the waters of this river part, and the children of Israel cross over. But in Joshua chapter 4, he says, get stones, 12 leaders. I want you to come and set up an altar, a memorial, because I'm doing a new thing. And I believe God right now, throughout this whole COVID-19, this whole Passover plague, you might call it, God's preparing all of us in that quiet place, in that sanctification, in that sanitation, in that set-apart time for something he wants to do, a rallying point, 24/7. All tribes, all languages, all nations who hear the voice of the shepherd, not those goat nations who go their own way, to unite. And you know what? 12 stones. We need 12 stones, okay? Because there are 12 stones on the breastplate of the high priests. When Elijah said, I'm standing up for what's right, I will serve the God of Israel, he put 12 stones in an altar and fire came down on it. Isaiah chapter 49 verse 22 speaks of a time where the nations would carry the Jewish people back home to this, the promised land. I believe that time is right now. Carrying in their arms, carrying on their shoulders. Jeremiah 32 verse 41 speaks of planting them in the land with all of God's heart and all of God's soul. He will plant them in this land, the inheritance of Jacob. Yeah, we're part of that together. But what people are forgetting in churches, in congregations, they're forgetting they have to pray through the Aliyah scriptures. There's 700 of those. We have to intercede and pray day and night that God's plan might be accomplished, that his will might be done here on earth as it is in heaven. And we know that miracles are going to accompany his plan and his purpose. I want to ask you to join. Be a leader for a 3-hour watch. Even join a 3-hour watch in worship, in prayer, in intercession, in travailing, and seeing the kingdoms of darkness shake. Seeing God's will effectuate as he fulfills his prophecies in front of our eyes. As some of the words of Yeshua in Matthew 24 are echoing through our realities, wars, rumors of wars, the love of many growing cold. This last stone, the 12th stone. We can't back down when we see pestilence, when we see these things coming to pass. We need to rush forward and run with the horses in the thickets of the Jordan. 12 stones on the altar of Elijah. 12 stones on the tribe's high priest's breastplate. 12 gates of Jerusalem. 12 stones brought out of this river by the 12 tribes in Joshua. We're making an altar together right now with 12 stones. The fire consumed the altar of Elijah. I believe it is time together to intercede, to travail for God's will to be done here on earth as it is in heaven. Go to altarofprayer.com. Do a 3-hour shift. I'll see you there.